optimistic and see the possibility of change and still believe in that man or in that relationship again. So the miracle question is all about bringing the person to believe again, bringing the person to see things in a positive way again. The next point is keeping. Keeping. Keeping is CAPPING. Keeping. A lot of counselors use the technique of keeping during sessions. Keeping involves changing a conversation's direction from emotional to cognitive if the counselor feels their client's emotion needs to be calm or regulated. So you are talking on an issue and you discover that the person's emotion has become too tense. And then keeping comes into changing the conversation in a different direction in order to calm down the situation. It's like dribbling. You're trying to dribble through the issue so that the person, you don't lose the person on the counseling process. Okay. All right. I think I still have time. Because I still have time, I move to those other techniques that I was telling you. So the next technique is narrative therapy. Narrative therapy. Narrative therapy is a therapy that was developed by Michael White and David Epstein. And the core idea about narrative therapy says people are not the problem. The problem is the problem. The core idea about this therapy of the narrative therapy says that what? People are not the problem. The problem is the problem. According to this therapy, the therapy says that individual construct meaning through stories. Problems are maintained by dominant problem-saturated narratives. So clients are experts of their own lives. Clients are the experts of their own lives. But the work of the counselor here is to separate the person from the problem. Is to separate the person from the problem, because the core value of the core idea about this therapy says that what? People are not the problem. The problem is the problem. So after listening to somebody, the counselor employed this narrative therapy to separate the person from the problem and saying that the person may have behaved like this, but that person is the character disposition of this person in this situation is not a person. So what are the goals of this therapy? The goals of this therapy is separate the person from the problem, re-author preferred life stories, re-author preferred life stories. Issue may have happened like this. This issue does not define you. This problem does not define you. You may have gone through divorce. You may have gone through this. You may have gone through this traumatic situation, but that problem does not define you. So this therapy empower clients through alternative narratives. So narrative therapy focuses on changing the narrative of what the person is going through. So it's like saying, you may be going through this issue. You may be going through this. You may have gone through this. You're only going through. Look at how all the techniques that I'm giving you focusing mostly on staying positive, optimistic, solution. Okay. Under these techniques, they talk about key techniques. Some of the key core characteristics. Externalization. Externalization is like naming the problem. Is it depression that is attacking you? So externalization is naming the problem. And remember, I would say, if you can name it, you can handle it. Because sometimes the issues that you are going through, you don't just know what is really the issue. And sometimes it's not really an issue. But by the counselor, the skill of the counselor in exploring the issue, clarifying the issue, developing coping mechanism, and sorting to have a possible solution in a particular issue, as we've seen in the definition of counseling. Through that, the person may just understand that there was not really an issue. Or will be able to identify the issue. And when you identify the issue, you are naming the problem for the client. You as a counselor, you are naming the problem. And a problem that is already sorted, that is already identified, is already half solved. Still under this, deconstruction. Deconstruction talks about examining cultural and social influences. That is unique outcomes, identifying the times the problem doesn't dominate. This particular point on deconstruction is trying to identify when the problem started, aligning with when the problem never started. Remember, what you are trying to do is to help the person identify where the problem is coming from. And so you discover is similar to the first therapy that we talk on, spheres of influence. When you understand where it is coming from, you are not trying to do a kind of deconstruction. Okay. And then you as a counselor, you may try to give a kind of empowering stories, creating new narrative. Let me leave that and go to the next therapy. Emotionally focused therapy. Emotionally focused therapy. This therapy was developed by Dr. Sue Johnson. And the core assumption or core idea about this therapy says that emotions shape relationships. And because emotions shape relationship distress comes from insecure attachment bonds. And so to offer a change can occur through emotional engagement. You understand that the issue that the person is going through, the wrong decision, the way the person is talking, is due to the emotions, maybe the way his or her emotions are heated. And so the goal of the counselor is to engage the person's emotion. And bring a kind of balance. Maybe through encouragement. Or generally developing coping mechanism. Because the issue is weighing down on the person. His or her emotions are heated. So emotionally focused therapy is hard to identify and address that particular emotion that the person is facing, where it is coming from. And trying to bring the person to balance. Okay. The key techniques or the key values under this technique is emotion identification and validation, which I've already explained. You identify the emotion, and sometimes the person is just down and maybe in a kind of low self-esteem. So it's a emotional identification and validation. Reframing the problem as attachment needs. You reframe the problem. Okay. The next therapy is positive psychology therapy. Positive psychology therapy. Positive psychology therapy focuses on the strengths, well-being, and flourishing aspect of that relationship. I'll explain. A person is going through an issue, and then he's just riding off the husband or the wife. This man is so bad. This man is like this. This man is like that. Under this therapy, positive psychology therapy, you are trying to move away from the person's weakness to his strength. You are trying to highlight the person's strength, getting the the counselee or the client look at the positive aspect of that person that he or she is complaining about. Yes, your husband has done this. Has he never done something good? What are some of the good things that this man has done that when you think about it, you are happy? So you want to push the person to focus on the positive aspect of his or her husband or the client rather than the negatives. So now this person has done this. So because of this one error that your husband has done, you want to give up on your husband. Have you thought about what will become of your children? Have you thought about what will become of his job? Have you thought about what will become of his ministry? Have you thought about it? So it's a positive psychology therapy, focuses on looking on the strengths to maintain a positive outlook, even though things are this way. What are some of the things that this person has ever done? Maybe there's some of the gifts that he ever gives you. You want to focus on that. So this therapy, the goal of it is to build positive emotion, engagement, bring meaning back to your relationship. It focuses on building strength, focusing on strength to build resilience. The next therapy, imago relationship therapy. Imago relationship therapy. Imago as in image. Image. Imago. Now, this therapy says that we unconsciously replay, our lives unconsciously replay some issues that we might have experienced in the past. That is, the therapy focuses on trying to understand some of the issues that you have experienced and gone through. Maybe in your childhood, in stronghold, and memories that are playing in your life and in your present relationships, your background, you are healing through your experiences, some maybe traumatic situations that has left in you some images that are replaying that all men are the same. Marriage is a scam. Any of those conclusions are done from the issues, the experiences that they have gone through and had before. And so imago relationship therapy focuses on trying to get to know some of the experiences that have gone through in the past. I'll give it this example. Even when you go to the doctor, you say you're feeling this way. Doctor will be asking you, this issue, this particular sickness, this particular thing that you are going through, has anybody in your family ever gone through? Has anybody ever had this kind of sickness in your family? What he's trying to do is identifying pattern. Like some of the issues that you are going through are issues of pattern. We have done the course identifying, recognizing and identifying negative patterns in marriage, or identifying and dealing with negative patterns in marriage. And so the same issue, some of the images that the person has thought up through the experiences the person have had, maybe through the traumatic situations and all of that, can influence his present reactions in that particular relationship or the issue that the counselor is dealing with. So Imago relationship therapy seeks to explore to identify the root cause of what that person is going through. Maybe is related to that. The next therapy, intimacy enhanced therapy. This therapy focuses on improving emotional, relational, and sexual intimacy. Now, here, the counselor, after listening to the client, maybe understand that the issue that these people are facing is tied to dissatisfaction in the area of bedmatics or sexual intimacy. And so, through that counseling, he may offer suggestion, ways in which they can build intimacy. Now, intimacy grows through safety, vulnerability, and trust. Emotional disconnection often underlies sexual problems. And so, sometimes when there is a kind of disconnection between couples, that disconnection has to do with lack of intimacy. And when we deal with this topic, we look at it as intimacy and passion in marriage. When intimacy is missing, there is no more passion. And that passion, that glues, that keep people together, there is a breakage. There is a kind of disconnect. So people are together, but separated. They are living in the same house, but no more connected. So intimacy enhanced therapy focuses on encouraging intimacy, building or giving solutions that will help to bring them back together. And key techniques here involve sexual education, let me go to the next therapy. The next therapy is Goodman counseling method. Goodman counseling method. Goodman is spelled Gottman. Goodman counseling method. This counseling method says relationship success is predictable on friendship as a foundation of healthy relationship. So it seeks to build friendship back in a relationship, trying to identify whereby how can two people that were once lovers, two people that were once flowing, doing everything, one another's keeper and all of that, how have they suddenly become enemies? So the Goodman method is trying to understand where the main issue, the issue that brought about them, this disconnect, is trying to identify that. And so the goal may be to improve communication, increase friendship and intimacy, which I have mentioned, manage conflict effectively. And as we have said, there is no relationship without problem. But unresolved problem is a conflict. And so it may just be a way in which they have been handling their issues or their misunderstanding that is leading to conflict. And they are not being able to identify that particular issue. And so the Goodman method seeks to building back friendship by identifying where these people are beginning to get into misalignment. They are no more connected. They are no more passionate about each other. The Goodman method seeks to try to understand where the issue is really coming from, and to build back intimacy, and to build back communication, and to build back friendship, and to help them manage conflict effectively. Let me end with individual counseling therapy. Individual counseling therapy focuses on one-on-one therapeutic intervention. The reason for one-on-one therapeutic intervention is that you try getting the two people to sit together to talk, but there is impossible. So you resort to talking to them one-on-one. And then after many sessions of one-on-one, you are able to counsel the people individually and then bring them now on a combined counseling session. Core assumptions. Change occurs through a trusting therapeutic alliance. Clients have capacity for growth and self-awareness. And so through the individual counseling, you bring the client to self-understanding, emotional healing, behavioral change, coping skill development. And so I think this will be a summary of the most essential counseling techniques to consider. Okay, so one of the things I do is when I teach, the reason why I've not been giving notes, I don't want people to focus on notes. I want you to focus on trying to understand when I'm explaining, because I will say things that may not be in the notes, or in the way that I will explain may not be in the notes, or some examples that I bring may not be in the notes. And so what I'm doing for this is I'll forward immediately this class, and I'm forwarding to you the last teaching on counseling techniques, before when Annie will bring this other recording. When the recordings are ready, she will still post it back here. I will give you the other recording of the teaching that I did last year with the other first batch, so that you just explore the different techniques and be able to stay abreast, because different school of thought, a lot of variety of counseling techniques. But what we do, we are bringing to you the most important techniques that you can readily put to work as a counselor and employ them during counseling. And mind you, many of the things that we are teaching here, you will not get them overnight. But as much as you are into counseling, some of those techniques suddenly become part of you, gradually become part of you. And so this is just my time. I'll allow you to ask an occupation. Hello, everyone. Are you still there?
Yes, Papa G, we are there.
Yeah, Papa.
Yeah, Papa.
Okay. Anybody has question? If you don't have question, any preoccupation, the last teaching of last year, which is more summarized than the extensive teaching for this year. All right. Thank you very much for your time. And good night.
Good night, Papa G.